Hi, in this video, I'm going to talk about a little feature of unit test that might make your writing tests a little easier. So as you might have noticed in writing several of the tests, such as test find, we have to set up a BST before we can test the method itself. Same thing for test sum, we actually set up the same BST. Before we test sum, and same thing for test iter, it's the same tree. I basically copy and paste the same code into each and every one of these methods. And as you know, copy and paste code is a huge no-no, and it comes with all sorts of disadvantages, such as, what if I want to test a bigger BST now? I have several tests that I have to change. So it's in fact a very common problem in writing unit test case that we want to do the scaffolding, the setup ahead of time for every single test method. So unit test provides a way to do that, a uniform way. So in the test case class, there is a setup method. This setup method actually gets invoked before each test method is run. So we can override it and put our common setup code there. So instead of setting up the BST inside the test find method itself, I can set up a BST inside the setup method and use that BST in the test find method. Now, obviously, in order to share some variables between the setup method and the test find method, I have to set up the BST as an instance attribute, and so is the list of data, etc., etc. But that's fairly easily done. Just prepend the self dot in front of those data you want to share between setup and any of the test methods. Right, yes. And another thing is, because the setup is run before each of the test methods, you have to absolutely make sure that whatever operations that you do in setup is guaranteed going to succeed. Right. So for things like, the binary tree, the init method is used in the setup method, and the insert method is used in the setup method. So you better test those two methods very well. Make sure they work before you use them in the setup method. Otherwise, all of your tests, well, if something goes wrong in the setup method, all of your tests are going to fail. All right, so here's a little exercise for you that now that you know what to do, that we've seen. We need to set up a BST in the test string method, test iter method, and also the test sum method. So actually convert those methods to use the BST and the data that is that has been initialized and set up in the setup method. And so I think that's fairly simple. I'm not going to do that here in the video now. So just a couple more things I want to say before I wrap this up is, in addition to setup, there is a corresponding teardown that runs after each test method. So if there's anything that you might need to clean up after each test, that's what you can use. And then also there's a setup class that gets called just once before any of the tests is run. So it's a class method. It gets just run just once instead of getting run before each one of the test methods. So anyway, if you want more information, here's a link to the official Python documentation on these methods. And I hope that you find them useful in your unit tests.